All right, Latinos, mi gente, we need to do better. I need you to watch this video all the way through because it's important for everyone, no matter what background, no matter what you believe. I need you to watch this. We've benefited so much from the black community and all of the effort that they've put in to make this country one where people like us are more accepted. It's our turn.
And that's on period, ladies and gentlemen. You are in for a very good ride, ladies and gentlemen, in this video because I love how this gentleman has sent a very good sentimental message to both the Latino community and the black community. Him realizing that his people are wrong and he is willing to learn, and some of his people are willing to learn from the black community, and addressing the Latino community on how to do things better next time. If they can't fix it now, how can we learn better? Yeah, let's get into the video. But anyway, if you're new here, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. My name is Maskana Esther. Thank you so much for supporting me and loving me. 17,000 of you guys. Thank you so much. God bless you. Keep on supporting me. Keep on being there for me. Let's get into the video.
A few days ago, I made a video about unity. You can go look at it. It's called We Are Stronger When We Unite. And the overall message of that video was, if all of the minorities, particularly the black community, if we came together with Latinos, just how powerful could we be? What are the things that we could change? What is the impact that we could create? I was coming from hey, if we unite, we can do a lot. And the black community showed up and they had a lot to say. And it wasn't great. But I'm thankful because they clarified that in my message, I missed very important context that changes, or more so, speaks to the truth of where we're at. We are in a very important place in history. We are in a position where how we organize the things that we do now, today, tomorrow, in this administration is going to determine a lot. Go back, look through my video, watch the comments. But if you notice, the overwhelming numbers that you'll hear is 92%. 92% being the amount of people in the black community who overwhelmingly voted for Harris. Now, you compare that to the 46 to 52% of Latinos that voted for Trump. I was asking for them to come help us. And their response was, first of all, we've been doing this a lot longer than you. But second of all, you can't even help yourself. Why would we come and help you? And after reading through 150 plus comments and responding to most of them, it really dawned on me that they're right. They have been organizing and fighting and responsible primarily for the progress of this country for hundreds of years. And for us Latinos, we can't even get our house in order. We can't even agree on who we should vote for and who has our interest in mind. And not to mention now with these protests, I'm seeing people burning American flags. Why would you burn the flag of the country you're fighting so hard to stay in? Why? We are proud Mexicans. We are proud Latinos. I understand the flags because it represents who we are. But we should also be flying American flags because this is our home. This is my home. I've been here for 32 out of my 33 years in life. It is not us versus America. It is us fighting for what America is for us. And it is us learning to unite and support each other and organize. We have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of conversations that we need to have, and we need to unite and organize and do a better job of moving in the same direction, moving in the direction that is going to be good for all of us. So a lot of the comments were, don't come and ask us for help. Take care of your own house. Figure out what y'all got to do. This message has to be for you. And it was hard. It was hard to read through the comments. It was hard to comment back. It was hard to hear it again and again and again. But I'm so grateful for the Black community that showed up and had this discussion, because they're right. And you know what? We do need their help, but we need to learn how to organize the way they did. Instead of asking them for help because we're the ones in trouble now, we need to learn how to organize ourselves. And more so, before we can ask anyone else to jump to our aid, we need to learn to jump to our own aid, and we need to learn to be there and support other people before we ask anyone else to come help us. So for all of the people who commented, we're sitting this one out as a Black community, y'all figure it out, I get it. And I think it's right. I think it's right, because we as Latinos, we have to do a better job of supporting each other. We have to do a better job of organizing. We have to do a better job of proving that we can unite and we can organize under a common cause. And not just because we need it, but because it's good for everyone. And when our Black brothers and sisters are there and they're going through it, we have to show up for them. Unity starts with us setting the example. It starts with us making the changes that we need to make in order to help ourselves. Because other people are going to be a lot more willing to help us if we're organized, if we're moving in the right direction, and if we're doing things for others because it's the right thing to do. So if you are a Latino and you are someone who wants to make a change, and if you're someone who wants to see America be better for us, we have to learn how to organize within ourselves. We have to learn how to better understand what it is we want and do it the right way. Stop burning American flags. Organize. Learn to support each other. Don't vote because the things that he's saying, the hateful things, the hateful rhetoric doesn't apply to you. Don't vote for just what's good for you. Vote for what's good for your own family, your own loved ones. Even if you don't have any family that's undocumented. We have to come together and we have to learn that until we are voting for an America that is good for everyone, it's not going to be the America that we want to live in. So yeah, I learned, and again, I've said it before, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I made that video. I'm grateful that I had so many people reach out, and the love and support from that community that I felt once we had conversation, once people DM'd me and we had a chat, it was incredible. It's our turn to lead the charge. And not just because we're the ones being attacked right now, but because we have the numbers, but because we have the power. And I think once we learn to organize, once we learn to row in the right direction, to take the charge in fighting for everyone's rights, then the Black community and every other community is going to be much more open to unifying with us. It may take time. We may not agree. We may not get a lot of this right, but I think we have to want it. And I think we have to step out of our own personal bubbles and step out of this, not my battle, not my fight, because it is. So to all of those in the Black community who saw my video, who commented and said, take care of your own house, talk to your own people, I appreciate it, because I think that's what we need to do.
You got to be able to admit that sometimes you're not right. You got to be able to admit that sometimes you don't know everything. You got to be able to admit that the things you thought were right maybe aren't right. Ego is one of the worst things that we have to deal with as a society. People who can't stand to say something, be incorrect, and then say I was wrong. On the other end, as a society, we are not good at all at giving people grace when they're wrong. We shame people for being wrong. We cancel them for sometimes offenses that we have committed. We just didn't get caught on camera. Now, totally dispelling all the crazy people out there that do deserve it. But I just think that we should allow people to show up as they are and hold them accountable in a sense to where they'll be open to growth. To where if they say something wrong, we can say, hey, you know what? I can maybe see why you think that, but that's not right. Let me show you. And then allow those people to learn, allow them to be wrong, allow them to grow, and then celebrate growth, right? Because I don't know about you, but I'm not perfect. I think that we stifle the possibility for good conversation when we're so harsh and judgmental on where others are without understanding that there is room for growth. And a lot of people want to grow. A lot of people want to learn something. But when you shame and cancel and you go through all these extremes just to feel better about yourself, I don't know, it really shuts down the conversation. People are too scared to be wrong. People are too scared to say something because what if they're wrong? I mean, yeah, people say some ignorant shit. It's out there. We've all seen it. But where does someone grow from there? Where does someone go from ignorant to understanding? Where do they go from, hateful to compassionate? Are we building in our society an ability to do that? I don't know that we are. And I think that part of why people seem to double down on what their opinions are isn't necessarily because they continue to believe them, because if they admit that they were wrong, if they admit that they weren't right, the blowback that they would get from those who believe what they believe, but also from those who knew that the right answer was the right answer and that they were wrong before. I think that's where we get lost of. You risk alienating those who are already within your community in that train of thought, but probably not going to get accepted from those who saw it your way. Now, granted, it's not all of us. Granted, there's plenty of people who are open to that, but I don't think that's the loudest voice in the room. I don't think that's the narrative that people think of when they think about expressing themselves, giving an opinion, changing their mind. So I don't know. Let's be more compassionate. Let's politely correct people. Let's educate them with love and grace and compassion rather than shaming people into changing their minds. When has that ever worked?
I have no more words to say. I love this message. I don't know if he's single. I could literally give him a chance. But I love to see it, man. I feel like Latinos are getting the wake-up call that they need it probably. Sometimes I'm going to play his next video where he say that sometimes you need to go through a certain situation to learn that you were wrong, or you had to learn, which is very true. It literally just speaks towards everyone's life. Most of the times we just need to get into a situation so we can learn. And I love the fact that some Latino people are learning from the situation on how to set their priorities right, and learning from the Black community. Black people will tell you the way it is in your face. Like, you know what, fix your house. And they are learning that. How about it?
So we have a discourse going on between, I think majority like Mexicans and the Black community. And I just have to say to my Mexican people who are asking why the Black people are not like protesting with us or whatever. Why? Why would they? 92% of their women voted for Kamala. 80% of their community of men voted for Kamala. 60% of Latinos voted for Kamala. And I believe the majority were women and the majority were Mexican. But that number is crazy, considering that Hispanics and Latinos are becoming the fastest growing minority. Like, we are going to be the majority soon. And it's crazy for me to think that number was so fucking low. And now you're asking where the Black community is when they're the ones who tried to avoid this. Hello? They tried to avoid this. We all tried to tell you guys, even within my own community. I'm talking to you guys because I did the work. And I know other Latinas who did the work. We were on calls every fucking week. We were writing postcards. We were making phone calls. And you guys were probably nowhere in sight, my Latino community. And now you're begging the Black community to come help us, to come save us. No! I think it's time we learn to save ourselves.
When you only care about things that affect you, it's bad for the world. It's bad for the country. It's bad for your community. Because you're going to fight really hard for those things that you need and your family lives, as you should. As you should. We should all take care of ours. But when you stop there, when you don't stop to consider how certain things are affecting other people, people that have different circumstances than you, people who have different resources than you, that's where we lose. And you see it at every single level. Because when you look at some of the top leaders in our country, left and right, it's both. When you look at those leaders and you see that they do things that benefit their pockets, that benefit their agenda, you see how we lose. You see how we struggle, but they gain. It's the same thing at every factor. You know, if you're one of these people that has no debt, you own your home, you have a car, and you got a good job, there are so many things that you aren't dealing with that the rest of the world is. And again, there's only so much we can do, but my point is that we need to focus beyond just our world. We need to focus and think about those people that are in the hardest circumstances outside of their control, that have generational causes, that have hardships, and they need support. No one wants to support someone who won't help themselves, but I think that's the biggest misconception. There's plenty of people who want to help themselves. They just need a break. They just need a small piece of something. And it's interesting because as you look at this election, you're starting to see more and more groups of people who voted for Trump start to change their mind. Why? Because certain things that he's doing are starting to affect them. It's starting to hit them. So now they're joining the fight. Now they want to change. Now they're, because it affected them. And I think that if those people would have taken the time to look at how those actions or those promises were affecting everyone else, they would have been able to see that there is no net positive here. But again, it's this individualistic approach that those in power want us to adopt, because it just means that if they take care of that, we don't care about anything else that happens to the rest of the world or the rest of our country. And I think that's the wrong approach. We need to look out for one another. We need to think about those people that don't have the same luxuries that we have. And I think if we were all to just think about our neighbor a little bit more, we'd be in a totally different place right now. So even if you're Latino, even if you're in the Black community, even if you're in one of these marginalized communities, I think it's important for us to realize that even within our own communities, there are people who are living vastly different lives. I'm a DACA recipient, right? So I think most of the world would see me as one of the immigrants that's struggling right now. But I'm white presenting. I speak English well. I've been in this country 32 out of my 33 years. I run several businesses. I have family support. Like, I'm not figuring out where my next meal is coming from. Now, you compare that to someone who just came into this country, who doesn't have support, who doesn't maybe have the best education, who doesn't have resources. Their experience compared to mine is going to be vastly different. The things they're worried about, the things they're dealing with are vastly different. And if I don't take the time to stop, think about them and what support they need or how I can advocate for them, you know, these things are important. So I say that for all of us to just take some time and think about others, people we've maybe have never thought about. And I think it's so easy for us to say, oh, that's not our problem. Oh, that's someone else's problem. Who? The change has to lead with us. We have to educate ourselves.